Hi there, dear members of the Staying Connected group. This is Mick here, coming at you live from the southwest of England. And today I wanted to talk to you about 3 of the top habits that people who are spiritually connected, who are peaceful people, and that what the the habits that they have. Wow, I'm really stringing sentences together very well today. Anyway, welcome to those of you who are new to the group. Lots of new people just came in the last couple of weeks, so welcome to those who are new. Welcome to people who've been here for a long time. I can see Brooke there. Brooke's actually someone who's been in the group maybe since the very beginning, I think. We've had a couple of great conversations, so welcome everyone. So whether you've been here for a long time or you're just new, a warm welcome. And for those that are new, what I normally do is I come in here a couple of times a week and have a little chat and talk about hopefully some helpful spiritual tips and ideas and concepts that can help you on your personal spiritual journey, whichever path that is that you're on, that can support you with that, and also can help you with connecting with your own spiritual path, with your own spiritual self, and also ideally with your loved one who's died as well. That's why most people are actually here in this group in particular. So welcome. And so I wanted to talk about these top 3 habits. And the first one is one that you will have heard a million times because everybody talks about it, and that is gratitude. Now, there's different levels of gratitude. You know, in many ways, we can practice the most basic, fundamental level of gratitude where, you know, if you've got a roof over your head, if you've got enough food in the fridge, then you're already way ahead of a huge percentage of the population. So there's already something there where, in the very, very basic level, we can actually have gratitude that, you know, we have food, that we have a roof over our heads, that we're able to keep warm in the winter, and we can even start there. So if you're really struggling to find things to be grateful for, if you're going through a really difficult time or any kind of trauma or anything, then just that simple practice of finding something, even the tiniest thing, to be grateful for each day, that can become a very powerful practice over time. And that's sort of the first level of gratitude. I mean, scientific studies and research papers and things have actually shown that gratitude has an enormous impact on the physical brain itself. It actually changes your brain, and it changes a lot of the chemical stuff that's going on in our nervous system and things as well. So it raises things like dopamine levels, and just it can help you to feel better. So but there's actually physical changes that take place when we practice gratitude. So that's sort of the first level of gratitude. Then you can be grateful for other things, like just certain people that you've got in your life, your loved ones. Sometimes you can just practice gratitude for, actually I'm looking out my window right now and there's a little forest next to where we live and the sun's shining through there. You can practice being grateful for these little moments of beauty that we can find in each and every day, because they're there when you go looking for them. And then in a way you could say like a third level of gratitude is also being grateful for things that we don't really want to have in our lives. This is a much more intense practice to try, but let's say there's someone who is causing you difficulty in life, or maybe it's even easier to look at someone in the past and think, is that person who caused me this kind of difficulty in the past, or this difficult experience that I went through in the past, that I actually learned from, that caused me to grow. Sometimes if we had a difficult relationship in the past, maybe that relationship was terrible at the time, but it actually taught us to stand up for ourselves, for example. I've worked with a lot of women who've experienced trauma in the past, and a lot of them actually tell me that these difficult relationships that they were in, on some level, though it was horrible at the time, on some level they felt they actually needed to go through that experience to actually begin to value themselves, to begin to trust themselves, to begin to own who they were and stand up for what they believed in and what they thought was right, and not to put up with that kind of thing anymore. So having lived through difficult experiences, they knew what kind of relationship they wanted in the future or in the present. So that's kind of like a level 3 gratitude, you could call it, where you're actually becoming grateful for not only the good things, not only the things that are surrounding you with love and warmth and stuff like that, all the good stuff in the present, but also becoming grateful for the difficult things in the past. And the important thing, I think, with gratitude, this first thing I'm talking about here, this first habit, is actually making it a habit, like setting aside just even if it's 1 or 2 minutes a day just before you go off to sleep or first thing when you get up, to actually, conjure it yourself. So it's okay to just vaguely have the idea of gratitude, walk around and think, oh yeah, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. But if you actually make it a practice to sit down and actually work at it a little bit, again, even if it's just for a very, very short time, that's really like building the gratitude muscle, as it were. And when you practice it with, for example, looking back at difficult things and trying to conjure gratitude for the difficult things, that's like really, that's work. And through actually doing work, we develop something. And so that's like going to the gratitude gym and building muscle. So that's the first one I wanted to talk about, gratitude. And like I said, there's a few different levels to gratitude that you can work on, but making it a daily practice is really the key. The second one, which is in a way connected with that, is one we also hear a lot about, but I want to kind of take it a step further, and that is just looking for the good in everything. So actually seeking out the good in other people, in situations. Again, it's usually easier looking back into the past rather than difficult situations that are happening right now, but that's also possible. But again, making it actual, what am I trying to say? Making it actually working at it. So not just, we can do a kind of a fake, we can do a fake positivity thing where we just immediately go, someone tells us some bad news or something, we go, oh yeah, that's okay because da 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 da. We kind of just skip over the initial feeling and try and smother it and say, oh no, everything's just perfect. Sometimes some of us do that, maybe not all of us, but so this is more actually, sitting with the difficult situation or sitting with the difficult feelings, or even maybe sitting with the difficult person, whether they're in front of you or not, maybe just in your mind's eye, but actually trying to find something good about that person. So I had I won't name the person, but had an issue with a friendship at one point, and it was very, very painful and difficult to have a conversation, and the friendship was sort of being strained in lots and lots of ways. And I tried this practice of actually sitting down and almost trying to block out, just for a short time, I'm not doing this all the time, but trying to block out all the negative stuff that had gone on, the negative things that had been said, and the painful feelings I was feeling. And, it's not trying to get rid of them, because you don't just get rid of them, but actually choosing to find something good about the person. And, when we're in certain situations and we're having a difficulty with another person, we tend to sort of put them in a box and see them in one particular way. Like, oh, they always say that, or they always do that, or they're this kind of person, or they're that kind of person. We sort of box them in. And just taking a couple of minutes to sit there thinking about the person, but maybe picturing them even in a completely different situation. So if it's someone who is, someone who you're connected with through work, maybe you picture them, with their children or with their partner or with their family, and how, maybe you notice that they're actually really good with their children. Or maybe if they're a family member, you picture them at their work and know, get a sense of how good they are at their job or something like that. So just trying to look at the person from a different perspective. And that doesn't mean, we don't see the negative. It doesn't mean it's, I don't know if you know the Tony Robbins thing. It's not like going out into the garden and looking at the garden and saying, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. but actually just practicing where you put your focus. And, I don't agree with everything Tony Robbins says and does, but, that thing about where you put your focus is really, really important. So when it comes to, difficulties with another person, sometimes you can actually try this with, let's say you've really got it in for a particular politician, who comes on the TV and you really don't like them. And I'm not going to get into politics, but maybe it's someone on the left, maybe it's someone on the right, maybe it's someone in the center. If any of those words actually mean anything anymore, I don't know. But let's say you've got a particular politician who you really detest, then take a couple of minutes and picture that person and see if you can find something good. For you it might be, I don't know, Donald. For others it might be the other guy. Yeah, I'm getting onto dodgy ground here, I realize. But just picture that person, and can you find in what they said or in what they did something positive? And that's a really good practice, because that's often really, really hard, because we kind of get really fixed in our views and fixed in our ideas, and then we've actually boxed the person in and said they're that, they're this, and I don't like them and I want to move away from them and I can't stand what they stand for. But then we don't get to, if something shifts or something changes or they say something that they wouldn't normally say, we completely miss it because we've already got them boxed in. So that's just, again, a real practice of choosing to look for the good, not denying the negative, not denying the bad, not saying there's no weeds, but just practicing looking for the good. One story that illustrates this, and this is not in the Gospels, but it's a story of about Jesus Christ, who was walking with the disciples, and they're walking along and they actually come across the body of a dead dog. And you can sort of imagine there's a smell about an animal that's died on the side of the road. Possibly it was rather a gruesome sight, I imagine. And the disciples who are walking along with him sort of turn away in disgust and horrible. And Jesus says, "What beautiful teeth the animal has." And so that's just I think it's just a good story to sort of illustrate how we can actually choose to turn our focus to the good. And again, this has very, very big effects and a huge impact on our psychology, on our physiology. It actually positive thinking, as it were, changes how we feel. It can actually change chemical things going on in our bodies. It's pretty amazing, just by controlling our own thinking. So that's the second one. That's the second habit. So we've looked at gratitude. We've looked at looking for the good. But again, not just airy-fairy kind of, hey, let's be more positive. Hey, man, everything's cool. Yeah, that bad thing happened, but hey, don't worry about it. Everything's good. We're all one, man. It's all that kind of stuff. That's not enough. It's actually got to be a real sitting down and working with it. Okay, and then the third one, I should really add a fourth one. Can I do that? Is that cheating? I did write 3 in the title. I'm just going to add this little one. This is what I would call self-reflection or self-knowledge. So the ancient Greeks, in the temple at Delphi, there was something written on the wall in the temple. Does anyone know what it is? Can you tell me? I'll give you 2 seconds. 2, 1, 2. No, too late. It said, "Know thyself." And so, I mean, all of these three things I'm talking about anyway are connected with this. It's about self-knowledge, understanding ourselves, understanding our triggers, understanding our one-sidedness, understanding our own habits of thought, or the way we maybe treat people or the way we react to certain things, and just getting to know that really intimately, because the more we understand ourselves and our reactions and why we do what we do, the more we can kind of step out of that and take a step back and see ourselves for who we are, with all its all its beauty and horror. But and then the more we can actually take control of our own reactions and take control of our own psyches in a way. So that was the one I wanted to add: self-knowledge, knowing ourselves, know thyself. And so the third one, the actual third one, is what you could just call openness, or even non-judgmentalness. Is that a word? Not forming judgments too quickly. So when we come across something, or someone tells us something, or we come across a new situation, we tend to make ourselves feel safe and comfortable. We tend to judge very quickly what's going on, or we tend to judge very quickly the other person before we've really heard the whole story. So to speak personally, sometimes in the family situation, I will immediately assume that this one person in the family was the culprit for doing a particular thing. For those of you who are parents, you might understand this. So I always assume it must have been him. And it sometimes takes a little while. Then I realize, it wasn't actually him. It was another person, or it wasn't a person. It was an animal that did whatever they did. But this sort of immediate assumption or immediate judgment that we make about situations or about people have a sort of a closing off effect. So we kind of miss out on reality quite a bit, because we've already put it in a box, or put the person in a box, or put the situation in a box. So this is really just about when we walk into a new situation, or sometimes we have to make quick judgments. If it's a stressful situation, you have to make a quick decision. So it's not about always doing this, but more and more just to practice openness, walk into situations with more of an open mind, almost like putting a question mark next to the situation. Or when you meet a new person, or you come into contact with that person who's causing you difficulty, to come in with a fresh mind, with a fresh idea, with forgiveness in mind, that maybe they've changed. Maybe they changed how they think about it. Maybe if I come into the situation more open and not full of my judgments already, something new can come in. Something new can happen in the relationship. It's a bit like actually creating a little space where the other person or the situation has an opportunity to be different, to change. And sometimes just that, the very act of deciding not to form a judgment immediately, can just really free up the other person, and can actually free up the situation. I've experienced that myself. So that was really it for today. That's what I wanted to cover, with these three top habits of people who are peaceful. That was the other thing I meant to mention. These three habits of gratitude, of looking for the good, and remaining open and not forming judgments too quickly, they actually lead to us feeling much, much more peaceful in our daily lives. And that then actually allows us to be more and more spiritually connected. So that's really the purpose of, I almost forgot the whole reason I started speaking about it, but that's the whole purpose of practicing these things. And they really are practices. That's kind of the most important point, is that they're things that we actually need to do we actually need to work on. And I know that people talk about working on ourselves a lot, but I think that can be too overwhelming. So I think it's more about just taking a couple of minutes a day. That could become one practice. Gratitude, looking for the good in for the good in situations and people, and remaining open. That can just become a daily practice, and it can just maybe just even in 2 or 3 minutes each day that can be done. And that just doing that, those small things can have a massive impact on how your day goes. You imagine waking up in the morning and because often we do wake up not feeling, good about the world or not feeling good about ourselves. So actually taking ourselves in hand in a way and focusing on what we can be grateful for, looking for the good in what's going to happen in that day or what happened yesterday, and then saying to ourselves that we're going to remain more open to people or more open to situations, that and not form quick judgments about it. It just leads to a happier, healthier day. And also the other sort of benefit of it is that spiritually, the less sort of angst that's going on and the more calm and peaceful we are, the more we're able to connect with loved ones who've died and the spiritual world in general. So I hope you found that helpful, that little spiel today, and I'd encourage you to practice those things if you can. And if you want to go deeper with that, if you want to get together with other people who are thinking about these things and working on it together, then feel free to book a free session. You just need to go to www.spiritualscientist.org, and then you can just book in a time that suits you for the call, and then I'll call you at that time that you chose, and then we will jump on a call and we'll look at where you're at spiritually at the moment, where you really want to be, and then if I'm the right person to help, then I can show you how I do that. But if not, that's also okay, and either way we have a great chat. But thank you very much for joining me today, and look forward to being with you again soon. Oh, and I'll just say hello to a few people because I can see some people there that I know. So Krish, welcome, and thanks for helping me out with the technical difficulties at the start. Natasha, really great to see you there again. Thanks for all your support. Natasha's a subscriber over at Subscribestar, so that's all of the videos end up there. If you can't find some of the older ones, that's where they end up, and you can actually become a supporter, which really helps me to continue to do this work. That's over at Subscribestar/Mick Young. So Lisa's there as well, and Gretel, welcome. I think it's Gretel. I hope I'm saying that okay, or is it Gretel? No, I'm thinking it's German. Gretel might be better. Holzer might be better. I'm not sure. Sorry, I apologize if I've got that wrong. Michelle, hi to you and welcome. Arushi, nice to see you. Uta's there, and Brooke I already said hi to. Welcome again, Brooke. Karen, wow, I'm able to flick through the names today, but thanks to everyone who's watching live and everyone who's watching the replay as well. Thanks for being there, and thanks to everyone for their support. And also, I think I just saw Rachel. Great to see you there, Rachel. So Rachel actually enrolled in the program, and we just finished up recently. Rachel and I speaking each week and going through the videos of the program, and it's just really amazing to work with Rachel, who's been through some incredible stuff, very inspiring, courageous person. So lovely to see you there too, Rachel, and look forward to being with you all again soon. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye for now.